Hello, I'm Mark Addy, and we'd like to welcome you to our grocery shopping experience. Today it's going to be my pleasure to walk you through a tour of a grocery store and point out some of the things that we look for when we're buying that grocery anchored center. And again, we're looking for creating that great shopping experience for our customers. The floral department. Whenever I do tours of the grocery store, one of the first things I ask is, what's the first section you go into when you go into a grocery store? And most people will commonly say produce. But think about your own shopping experience when you walk into that grocery store. What's the first section you walk into? Typically it's the floral department. Now why would that be? Floral department, you're trying to make an impact. That store, the first thing you walk in the door, if you're trying to stress, this is a good clean store with good customer service, what better way to do that with a floral department? 90% of what our brain processes is what we see visually. And just look at these beautiful bakery items. A bakery is a classic example of you see it, smell it, smell that fresh bread that's baking over in the bakery area. You see it. Stop and have a sample, just have a taste of that bread. Grocers have also figured out if they can put you in closer proximity to that product. You have to walk in between these cases. You see it, you smell it. What are you more likely to do? You're going to buy it, and grocers realize that. Welcome to the produce department. Look at the wide variety of produce. 2 to 3 times bigger than it used to be, because why? As customers, we're much more focused on natural and fresh. Also, as you look back through the colors, just pulling you back deeper and deeper into that produce. And all the way in the back, what do we see? Bananas. Bananas are the top selling type of produce, and grocers want to work you back through that produce department to buy those bananas. What do we want with produce? We want to pick that produce up. We want to smell it. We want to make sure it's fresh. We want to check what's the ripeness of those bananas. It's an in-store shopping experience. What sections of a grocery store are our customers most loyal to? What we have continued to find is customers are loyal to meat and produce. And that produce, what are grocers doing? They're really competing, trying to show that local market feel. Look at this produce. Drip lines, water coming down. What's that feeling you get? That feeling of freshness. Smell it, look at it. Again, that's key for a grocer, getting you to buy. How are grocers capturing additional margin? Well, grocers have figured out if they can take smaller portions and put it in packages where they're cutting that product up and that fruit and they're selling it to you, guess what? It works for you. It relieves some of that guilt, works some of it for the grocer because the grocer's getting a higher margin. Look at the watermelon, classic example. I can't eat an entire watermelon. Maybe I can have a quarter. Or guess what? They even have a fillet. Or I can do the half. Grocers are making it easier, and by doing that, they're getting higher margin on that product that they sell. Meat and produce are big drivers for grocery volume. When we ask customers consistently, they say, why do you shop at that particular grocery store? Because they got great meat, they got great produce. Grocers realize that. And this meat department, if you look at it, probably about 12 to 15% of this grocers are meat. And what do you get with this? You also get a wide selection of meat, poultry, fishes. You have a full butcher, again, keys. And why do grocers put so much emphasis on it? The margin on that meat and poultry and fish, anywhere between 25 to 30% margins. With bread, I wanted to point out a couple items. First of all, you see with the aisles are much wider. Look at the canopy, how it's tapered back. What grocers have found is shoppers will spend more dollars when they're feeling that less claustrophobic, that less tunnel feel. Also, if you look at the bread, one of the things we're looking for in our due diligence with that bread, we're looking, what's the assortment of bread? What's the linear feet of the sales? What we've kind of used as a rule of thumb, for every linear foot of bread is about $1 million in grocery sales. And again, as you look through and you look at this aisle, look how wide it is. And you look at the ways that grocers are continuing to compete. We talked about the bread, but if you look over to my left, you'll see the discount. Again, grocers are trying to figure out how to compete with those discount grocers. Grocers also, international, they want a larger international selection of foods. Again, what grocers want to be is that one-stop shop for all your shopping needs. When we're out looking to buy a potential grocery anchored shopping center, we're walking through that grocery store, and one of the things we're frequently asked is, when was that grocery store last remodeled? We may ask employees, we may ask the manager, maybe they know or they don't know. So there's ways we figure out to kind of get around that and find out the answer. One of the old school ways is, well, look, in that cooler. We know typically when grocers remodel their stores, they're typically going to replace those coolers. So what we'll do is we look up for that tag. What do I see on that tag? January 5th, 2010. I know these coolers were replaced about 5 or 6 years ago. That gives me a pretty good idea when it was remodeled. Another little thing that we look at, grocers are always concerned about those sight lines, that perfect planogram. If you look in here, you'll see that product. You see that shelving at different levels. Why is it different levels? Because again, they don't want you to push that product around. They want you to have a perfect view corridor as you look at that product. Again, another little trick is grocers try to capture those extra dollars. The milk section. The milk section is one of the key sections for us when we're looking at a grocery for an acquisition. We're looking how wide's that milk section? How deep is it? How many different types of milk do they have? Chocolate milk, that's a new sports drink of the millennial generation. We're looking at silt, organics, almond milk, all these different types. Keys for us, because we know 98% of the shoppers, when they shop for groceries, are going to pick up milk. We're looking at how much milk is being moved through there. I'm looking at expiration dates. That expiration dates, if it's 2 weeks out, we know that store's moving a lot of milk. Pharmacy. Why do grocers have pharmacies? Well, the key for that grocer, it's that repeat business. Again, if you think about the pharmacy, those meds that you get on a regular basis, you're going back to the grocery store for those items. Think about your personal information, your insurance information. Once you have that in, you're more likely to stay. You don't want to move that around. Think about what's the busiest day for shopping in a grocery store? Well, the busiest day to shop in a grocery store would be Saturday, followed by Friday, followed by Sunday. The slowest shopping day in a grocery store is Monday, but that's the busiest day for the pharmacy, so it's bringing additional traffic. But the number one reason why grocers love pharmacy is because what are you going to do for 30 minutes after you drop out that prescription? You're going to shop for groceries. Checkout. The key for us, whenever we're looking at a shopping center, is we want to see how much money has the grocer invested in checkout? How many lines do they have? Because we know the number one frustration for shoppers is waiting in line to check out. So we're looking how many lanes are available, how many are open, morning, noon, and night. Do they have self-checkout? Have they invested in self-checkout? If you look around, certain items that you can grab and go, again, key to capturing those last dollars as you're walking out the door. Grocers have figured out how to capture that last dollar. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed your grocery tour. So as we walk through that grocery store, we walk back to that meat department. And again, we saw the milk. Again, 98% of the shoppers are going to pick up milk when they go. Here's another fast fact. You realize that 9% of shoppers when they check out have cereal in their shopping cart? And as we went around to that pharmacy, we realized why grocers have pharmacies. Because what are you going to do? For 30 minutes after you drop off your prescription, you're going to shop for groceries. And as you go to that checkout, the number one frustration is if you don't have quick checkout. Look at how wide those checkouts are. Look at the self-checkout as they go through. Again, it's all about that shopping experience and creating that best environment for you as you go through. So again, I'd like to thank you today for going through that grocery tour. We really appreciate your support and look forward to working with you in the future.